All right. Well, I went to see a one that I was anticipating a lot. This was one of my most anticipated movies of the fall or the back end of 2023, and that is Sean Durkin's The Iron Claw, produced
There it is.
brought to us from A24, which is kind of doing not a great job kind of getting this out there. I don't think it's really going to get any award buzz, even though it probably should. Sean Durkin has brought us few things. He gave us this kind of under the radar movie called The Nest from a few years ago, but his big movie that he was known for before this one was Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene with Elizabeth Olsen. But the Iron Claw tells the story of the Von Erich family. They're an independent wrestling company and family of wrestlers who kind of in the early days of professional wrestling. They are uh, rising family. Great casting here as well. The main brother Kevin Von Erich is played by Zac Efron. We also have Jeremy Allen White as Kerry Von Erich, Harris Dixon as David. We also have great performances from Holt McCannley for who plays the father Fritz, and Maura Tierney plays the mother Doris. Really underrated casting for everybody here. Zac Efron being the one that is getting a lot of the recognition, standout from being just totally jacked in this movie. This film really does tell you. This movie is really like an A24 film through and through. It's a heartbreaking, devastating drama, which also has some sports moments in there as well. I did know a little bit of the family tragedy going into this movie, being I like wrestling documentaries and such like that too. So kind of knowing a little bit about this story going into it, didn't know all the details. So a lot of some things were very devastating to kind of see. My anticipation level, I didn't watch a trailer for this one, but I did have my anticipation level maybe pretty high on this. I'm at 3.5 stars for this movie. I definitely want to watch it again for Zac Efron alone, because I think he should be kind of slotted into that best actor category. He's that dang good. He's very subtle. I brought it up to Todd. I think he was kind of like a Channing Tatum from Foxcatcher in a way, just like how his subtlety in the performance there, kind of a criminally underlooked performance too from Tatum as well. Jeremy Allen White's electric, but the father character here was another one getting kind of award consideration. That's Holt McCannley or McCallany. He's really solid here. He's probably going to be nominated for me on our. He's going to be, you know. Supporting actor nominee, and so is Efron as well. The Sean Durkin's direction is really awesome. The only gripe that I really have is the guy who played Ric Flair. It completely miscast. Ric Flair is such an
Fair
iconic,
point.
like that guy is. You know who Ric Flair? He's woo. He's doing the strutting thing. He's doing his best intimidation. Yeah, he's trying to do his best performance that he can for Ric Flair, but he's a one in a lifetime like character that it's really hard to see anybody else do it quite like he did. So that did take me out of the movie. But the ending quote of the film is probably what I'm going to nominate. It's like, "We'll be your brother's dad." That is such a heartbreaking thing. And if you would like to know more about the Von Erichs, I highly recommend you go to Hulu, go look for Dark Side of the Ring, and look up the Von Erichs episode. It go into detail about like how the oldest brother died, who when he was like a 6-year-old kid, and they talked about another family member, another brother who actually got into wrestling that wasn't in the movie. So they go into more tragedies about this family, and very encouraged. You should go watch that as well. So going to do a two-parter with this, but Iron Claw, a must-watch, I would think, and 3.5 stars for me. So I can see myself giving it 4 stars the more if I watch it again. So really solid movie.
Well, I did. I gave it 4 stars because I was just completely blown away by this movie and the performances, the storytelling in it. You're right. Maybe the one gripe about it is who played Ric Flair. I had thought they were gonna just avoid that when they showed like the archival footage of the first time he was
Mhm.
they showed him. I'm like, oh, well, obviously because you can't recast Ric Flair. So, but then they did. Like, oh well, never mind. But yeah, the story that it told, the performances that came out. Zac Efron is better than he's ever been in this. It's yeah, it was an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love the
oh,
movie
go ahead.
too. I give it 3.5 stars, and Well, I will say, don't like know anything about this going in, because like even like listening to podcasts or like any like the most basic descriptions from critics, they're like spoiling the movie without even really knowing that they are, because just like describing a character, it's like it's kind of ridiculous. So don't even don't know
Try to
anything
keep
about
it
it. But
vague.
yeah, I really liked it though. I mean, I think Efron is like distractingly swole. Like he is unbelievably big, and but he gives a really great performance, and I think it is setting the groundwork for what could be a great dramatic career after this, because he's never really gotten credit for being a serious actor. But Holt McCallany he's my MVP of the movie. He's fantastic as the father. And before this, I really only knew him as like the guy who says Robert Paulson in Fight Club. So he blew me away in this.
Isn't he in Men of Honor too? I think he's in Men
Probably.
of Honor. I think he's one of the guys in diving school with them. Zach, you saw this one?
I did. We're quad approved, although I think I'm the lowest enthusiasm out of everybody. I'm at 3 stars for this movie. I went in pretty blind to this movie. One of my big takeaways was that we need to start a Pinot Award for like the Adam Sandler Uncut Gems out of nowhere performance, because that would clearly be Zac Efron. And like Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems, there's no way he's going to get nominated for an Oscar, which is just ridiculous. No, I mean, we were just talking about Bradley Cooper's great, but Zac Efron, I mean, he's at least on the same level in terms of his physical transformation, and he just dominates this movie, so much so that it was distracting a little bit. I think I just kind of wanted to look at him in awe, and I maybe not focus on the story as much. The other brothers, I could never really believe as wrestlers. You're really supposed to believe, and again, maybe mild spoilers here, but you're really supposed to believe that Jeremy Allen White becomes the heavyweight champ, like with Zac Efron there on the side. I mean, that's a little bit crazy. I'd want to know maybe a little bit more about maybe that's a problem in the performance. I don't know. I think Lily James is kind of wasted in this movie. This movie has a very big example of a Chekhov's gun thing that I think anybody could see coming. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of made up in this movie, not just the brother who they excised, but also apparently there's a postcard in the movie that was entirely a fabrication. I'm not saying it needs to be a perfectly historically accurate movie, but I think when you take that many liberties, it reinforces the big takeaway I had, which is that, and I'm glad Adam said this I think would have been a better documentary. I think these characters are baffling. It was hard for me to quite understand the psychological trauma that they went through. And so as a result, I was kind of like, why can't you just escape? Why can't you escape from the influence of your father? And I guess that's maybe the point of the movie, is to be frustrating like that. But I think a documentary might have had a more astute look at it. I'm at 3 stars. This is a very good movie, but it lacks the kind of greatness that I think maybe you guys are seeing.
Well, it couldn't have been a documentary because you don't have all of the people that involved to interview. Like this gives the perspective of all the characters. So
yeah, the thing that the documentary, The Dark Side of the Ring, it's only like a 45-minute episode. That's because it's a TV show documentary, right? They do get out like Jim Cornette and like a bunch of and Dave Meltzer, who's been reporting on wrestling for like 40 years. Like, so they actually knew these guys. And the reason, well, I'm not going to go into the characters. There's a reason why certain characters got certain opportunities and not the Zac Efron character in real life. But yeah, it's something I would encourage to watch. It is free on Hulu, so Dark Side of the Ring. So it's a 45-minute, really quick. So go ahead.
I think I mentioned this to Terry, that it's the second straight year Lily James has played a character named Pam after
wow,
the Pam.
That's a great point.
Oh yeah,
and she basically is just playing Deborah from Baby Driver.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Mark, so he's got a little bit of Dirk Diggler in this movie, like an aged Dirk Diggler. And I mean, there's almost a Copacabana and Mauricio's Club type tracking shot that goes through the wrestling like hall that they're in. That would have been a cool movie. Maybe Paul Thomas Anderson should direct it. But I was like, oh, okay, we're going in that direction. And it didn't really go there, but I don't know.